June 1944. A French railway worker finishes his lunch. He steps behind a signal box and crushes a small brass tube beneath his boot heel. A faint metallic click sounds inside the copper casing. Then, silence. He slips the tube into a lump of plastic explosive, presses the charge against a rail joint, and walks home. 3 hours later, as he eats dinner with his family, the night express to Normandy derails 6 miles away. German investigators find nothing except twisted steel and scattered brass fragments no larger than a pencil. This was not an isolated event. On the eve of D-Day, post-war SOE reports recorded hundreds of railway cuts across France, with figures often citing 577 in that single night. Resistance fighters destroyed hundreds of locomotives. They delayed an elite SS Panzer division for nearly 2 weeks.
The weapon that made this possible looked like something you might find in a schoolchild's pencil case. The British called it the time pencil. The Germans called it a nightmare they could never unravel. The problem confronting British intelligence in 1940 was simple but appeared insurmountable. France had fallen. Across occupied Europe, millions of potential resistance fighters had the desire to strike back, but lacked the means. Conventional explosives demanded either suicidal closeness to the blast or complex timing devices far beyond amateur skill. Clockwork timers were costly, delicate, and their ticking could expose an agent during German checkpoint searches. Electrical systems depended on batteries that could fail after months hidden in a barn. The resistance needed something simpler, silent, and easy for anyone to use.
The answer came from Station 12, a requisitioned country estate known as Aston House, near Stevenage in Hertfordshire. It became the SOE's secret weapons laboratory, where scientists and engineers developed the tools that would, in Churchill's famous phrase, set Europe ablaze. The time pencil's inventor was Lieutenant Commander A.J.G. Langley, the first commandant of Station 12. According to the British Royal Commission on Awards to Inventors, Langley's design accomplished something remarkable: a dependable delay mechanism using nothing but chemistry and physics. The device measured exactly 5 inches, about 12.7 centimeters, in length and weighed roughly half an ounce, 14 grams. Its simple design consisted of a glass vial filled with cupric chloride solution, a spring-loaded steel striker, and a percussion cap at the base. It's hard to believe that something no larger than a pencil could cripple a powerful army, isn't it? In your view, which is more frightening on the battlefield, brutal simplicity or advanced machinery? Share your thoughts in the comments so we can discuss. The activation process required no batteries or electronic parts. An agent simply crushed the copper section with pliers or a boot heel, shattering the internal glass vial. The released acid then quietly corroded the wire holding back the striker. When the wire finally gave way, the compressed spring drove the striker into the percussion cap, setting off the main explosive charge with precise timing and no sound. The entire countdown unfolded in complete silence, with no ticking or telltale smell, allowing the saboteur to withdraw safely before the unseen chemical reaction finished. To control detonation timing, the SOE created a color-coded system using removable safety strips. Black, 10 minutes, for training. Red, 30 minutes. White, 2 hours. Green, 5.5 hours. Yellow, 12 hours. And blue for a full 24-hour delay. The system had one critical weakness: chemical reactions slow in the cold and speed up in the heat. SOE technical manuals included correction tables showing dramatic variations. A red delay, nominally 30 minutes at 15 degrees Celsius, 59 degrees Fahrenheit, would extend to 75 minutes at minus 20 degrees Celsius, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, but shrink to barely 9 minutes at 43 degrees Celsius, 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Agents operating in winter or summer had to adjust their calculations accordingly, and sometimes they got it wrong. The time pencil's first major success came on the night of June 7, 1941. Free French agents targeted the transformer station at Pessac near Bordeaux, which supplied power to German submarine bases and war factories.
Agents Raymond Cabot, André Varnier,
And Joël Lemoine placed magnetic incendiary devices fitted with time pencil delays on 8 transformers. The entire operation took less than 30 minutes. 6 of the 8 transformers were destroyed. The Italian submarine base at Bordeaux lost power for weeks. Electric railways were forced to revert to steam locomotives, and repairs took more than a year. Hugh Dalton, the Minister of Economic Warfare, wrote triumphantly to Churchill that industrial targets were being attacked more effectively by SOE methods than by aerial bombardment.
When an RAF bombing raid on the Peugeot factory at Sochaux in July 1943 killed 125 French civilians without causing significant damage to the plant, SOE agent Captain Harry Ray presented factory owner Rodolphe Peugeot with a stark choice: cooperate with precise sabotage using time pencils, or risk further RAF bombing. Peugeot supplied blueprints and internal contacts. As a result, the tank component factory was crippled without a single civilian casualty. But the time pencil's finest hour came on the eve of D-Day, when the BBC broadcast 210 coded messages. Resistance networks carried out Plan Vert, cutting hundreds of railway lines. By June 7th, Normandy was effectively isolated, crippling German logistics across France. Pearl Witherington, the only woman to command an SOE network in France, led thousands of resistance fighters who carried out more than 800 railway disruptions. The Germans placed a 1 million franc bounty on her head. Yet her forces inflicted thousands of casualties and ultimately accepted the surrender of 18,000 German troops. Another striking example involved the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Das Reich. With 15,000 men and more than 200 tanks, they planned to reach Normandy by rail within 3 days. Instead, 20-year-old agent Tony Brooks sabotaged the rail cars by pouring abrasive lubricant into the axle boxes. Forced to move by road, the division was repeatedly ambushed by resistance groups using time pencils. They arrived 17 days late, by which time the Allied bridgehead was firmly established. Despite capturing large numbers of time pencils, the Germans never replicated the design, largely due to their fixation on complex mechanical solutions. Ironically, German conspirators later used captured fuses in attempts to assassinate Hitler. First in 1943, when a bomb planted on his aircraft failed to detonate because the cold rendered the percussion cap ineffective. And again in 1944, when the briefcase bomb functioned exactly as intended, but Hitler survived only because the bag was moved behind a thick wooden table leg moments before the explosion. Production of the device was immense, with estimates reaching as high as 12 million units. Millions of silent countdowns unfolded across Europe. The pencil that crippled occupied France secured its place in history not through technological sophistication, but through elegant simplicity. Commander Langley's invention struck military targets with precision, sparing civilians from the heavy losses caused by bombing raids.
With a single press of a boot heel during lunch, a railway worker could derail an enemy train hours later. While Germany showcased its Panzer tanks and V-2 rockets, the British embraced a crude, yet highly effective solution. This tiny pencil stands as proof that simplicity can sometimes be the ultimate weapon for bringing down an empire. The story of this chemical fuse has completely reshaped how we understand guerrilla warfare. If you enjoyed uncovering these historical secrets and unusual weapons, please support us by giving the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe and share it to join the conversation in our upcoming episodes. Your support is the greatest motivation for us to continue creating high-quality, in-depth content.